Hey y'all, welcome back. This is Michelle from Michelle's Empty Nest, and today I'm taking part in a YouTube hop that is celebrating Miranda Weber, who is my Scrappy Life, reaching 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, as well as her 40th birthday. So she turns 40 today on the 4th. There will be links to everyone who is playing along today down in the description box, so make sure you check those out and share some love with them. And be sure to tell Miranda happy birthday when you stop by her channel if you've not already been there. And happy birthday, Miranda. I hope you have a wonderful 40th birthday. So for this hop, we are to use 4 of everything, since she's 40 on the 4th. So we're playing up the 4s today. So other than my background, I'm going to do my best. And when I think of 4, I think of a grid layout. That's just where my mind goes immediately. So I have printed out 4 photos of Snapchat filters, and you all know, if you've been around a little while, I love some Snapchat filters, and I haven't documented any in a while, so I thought it was time to do that. So that's what I am going to use 4 photos of, and then I have picked out 4 papers from, this is all coming from Paige Evans' Go the Scenic Route. This has nothing to do with travel, but I'm using a travel collection just because I wanted something bright and colorful with these photos. And I have a ton of it. I have like 1 million pieces of it in my stash, I am pretty sure. So I picked out 4 papers. This one, yeah, this one's also from the 6x8 paper pad. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought there for a second. So I chose 4 papers that I thought I could use sort of as mats or backing for my photos. And I'm thinking along the lines of something like, 4 tickets, or 4 enamel dots, or 4 puffy hearts, or whatever. Whatever I can come up with to try to make this layout look okay. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you put on fast forward and we'll get this one put together. So let's do it. Okay, I did not mention in the introduction, but I have trimmed down that piece of white basil cardstock. It's in Avalanche. I have trimmed that down to 11 by 11, and my adhesive roller was trying to eat up the paper there for some reason. I had never had that happen before, but I've trimmed it down to 11 by 11, so it gives me a nice 1/2-inch border all the way around. And typically I would have gone to my sewing machine and stitched those 2 pieces together, but I just felt like I was already going to have a lot going on, and I thought I was going to be a little bit pressed for space. Especially top to bottom, since these photos aren't square, they're a little on the rectangular side. So I just didn't feel like I would have room for the stitching. And these photos are rectangular because when you do the Snapchat filters, if you've ever done any of those, you get a very long, skinny rectangle. And so I've added to them a good bit, cropped them a good bit in Photoshop, but I just felt like if I cropped enough to make them square, that I was losing too much of the photo, and it just looked kind of weird with just my head sticking in the in the picture. So I chose not to edit them all the way down to square. So while I've been talking, I have used those 4 pattern papers that I pulled from the 6x8 paper pad, and I just created a mat for each photo, and I just kind of did it catty corner. So the 2 filters that are the same, I did like the kind of more of the lighter watercolory looking papers, and then the 2 that are not the same, so this one with the pink hair and then the one at the top right, I did those florals, one darker and one lighter. then I still felt like I needed a little bit of something else to make them be a little more substantial and just to kind of spread around those colors and patterns a little more. So I'm going to put a different color or pattern behind it just to try to mix them up, and then I'm tearing them. So one gets torn on the right, one on the left, one at the top, one at the bottom, so that they all have a torn edge, but they're not all torn in the same spot. And I just like how that looks. So then I'm going to adhere the photo in the first mat down to the second mat. And I'm going to use my T-square to help me figure out where I want to place these. And so I'm just trying to see if I've got enough room there or if I need to kind of move down that bottom section a bit. And I did. I needed to move it down. And then I'm going to start getting these put in place. And the two that have the same filter, so the top left and the bottom right, they're the same filter, just a different pose. I am just going to adhere them straight down to the background. And then the two that are different, I'm going to pop up on some of that fun foam. And I get that at Target, Walmart, the Dollar Tree, Amazon, pretty much anywhere. You can get it at Michael's, Joann, Hobby Lobby, any of those places. And so it's just like a kid's fun foam, and it has adhesive on one side. And typically I use my liquid adhesive to adhere the other side. But for some reason today I decided I would try to use my roller adhesive, and my dot roller would not stick to the foam. So I had to pull over the solid roller from scrapbook.com, that reddish pink dispenser that you saw me using there. And it would hold on to the foam. It would actually stick to it and do its job. So I'm not sure. I love that Kokuyo, but it would just not stick to that foam for some reason. So now I'm going to pull in 4 florals. So I'm opening up each of these packs, and that first section that I opened up, those pieces were just a little too big for what I needed. So I end up just going like with a single flower for each photo. So I'm just going to kind of audition them around and decide where I think it looks most pleasing to have the colors dispersed and the placement of each flower. And so that's how it ends up staying right there. And then I thought I would pull in some leaves. And again, I'm keeping in mind that I need 4 of the leaves. So I'm pulling out what I'm counting as 4 for right now. And those single leaves just were not working. I just couldn't get them to work. So then I realized, well, there's actually 2 leaves per sprig in the others. So in my mind, that meant I had 4 leaves. And so we're just going to count that and let that go. And then this little strip of tickets was already cut off and left from a previous project. So I didn't even go looking for any others that might have had better sayings on them. I just thought, these will do. It's okay. There's only one that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense with the layout, but it's okay. So I'm just trimming them down and then using that multi-hole punch from We Are Memory Keepers just to notch off those little half circles to make it actually look like a ticket and get rid of that white part on the edges. So the one that's up top right now is not going to stay there. It just worked out better with the spacing of the words for it to go down to the bottom. So up at the top, I'm going to put one that says "Take Me Away." And then the one that's sticking out on the top left photo says "Document This." The one at the bottom now says "Happiness." And then the one on the right bottom says "Admit One." And that's kind of the only one that I'm not really sure if it makes sense for the layout, but we're going with it. So now I'm going to adhere my flowers and my leaves, and so I'm using foam squares on each of the little florals and just using liquid adhesive on the leaves. And those are the same foam squares that I always use from 3L. They're scrapbook adhesives by 3L. they're just black instead of white. I usually have both on hand. Sometimes some layouts with darker papers, I feel like I need that black foam to just kind of disappear instead of the white standing out. And vice versa. If it's a whiter paper, then, you know, I don't want the black to stand out or whatever. So, but I do happen to have both colors, sizes, thicknesses, all of that stuff on hand most of the time because I love those so very much. So now I'm going to put the little tickets in place, and I am putting those foam squares on what's going to be like the top or the side, depending on where the placement is, and then just some liquid adhesive to tuck in between the layers of my mats. So I think I've got one more to go. I had to do a little lifting up there to get those in place. And I also did like a double layer of foam on the ones for the photos that already had foam under them. Off camera, I'm going to do a few other things. Once I turned the camera off, I just thought I still need a little bit more. And when I come back to you at the end to talk, I will mention what those things were that I did. But for right now, I'm going to take these puffy thickers and start spreading around some circles and some hearts. So I'm going to have 4 circles and 4 hearts. And again, I'm keeping things symmetrical. So, you know, a circle up top, a circle down bottom, a heart to the left, a heart to the right, that kind of thing. And then I think, let's see, I go ahead and come back in with the hearts. And then off camera, I will do a few other things. But that is just about going to finish me up, and I will be back to talk to you here in just a minute. So thank you again for stopping by today, guys. Okay, I'm going to call this one good right here. Off camera, I did go back and add a 3rd little dot to each cluster. I just had to, but that still kept everything at 4s. And let's see, I added some black splatters in the 4 corners, and I put my date stamp, and I did it 4 times. So everything is on here 4 times except for my background paper, but we're gonna just let that slide. And I'm gonna consider my title to be Document This, because I didn't want to mess up the balance that I've got going by putting a title somewhere and then it would just be off kilter. So we're just going to make it simple and call it Document This. Because, I mean, who says there has to be a title anyway, right? I mean, is that a rule that you have to follow? Is it a made-up rule? I'm not really sure, but we're going to go with Document This and leave it at that. So I appreciate you stopping by today so very much. It means more to me than you will ever know, my friends. I promise you that. Do make sure you check out all of the links to the other people who are playing along today with this hop, and wish a happy birthday to Miranda. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. I think that's it. So as always, there'll be close-ups at the end as well as over on Instagram, where I would love for you to follow me as well. If you enjoyed the video, I would love a thumbs up down below. And if you have not already hit that subscribe button, please consider doing that and becoming a part of my little YouTube family. There will be links in the description box as well. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them down below. And until I see you in the next video, take care of yourself, do something good for yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.